Hello and welcome back to Timehop. Generation Xers may not have the most glamorous reputation and certainly don't get as much attention as Boomers and Millennials, but they really don't mind, and that's pretty cool. If you're between 44 and 59 years old, you can wear your Gen X badge with pride, or indifference, your choice, because this generation has plenty of appealing traits. While no two Gen Xers are exactly alike, if you can name every member of the Brat Pack, remember the fall of the Berlin Wall, and feel nostalgic for the golden days of MTV and VH1, i.e., if you came into adulthood in the 90s, you'll likely identify with some common Gen X characteristics. So, put on a mixtape, lace up those combat boots, and watch on to learn more about this self-reliant and laid-back generation. Here are 8 common characteristics of Gen X. Number 1. They're expert DIYers. Generation X, often known as the latch-key generation, grew up with a notably hands-off upbringing, which led to their very hands-on approach to problem-solving at home. If you're part of Gen X, it probably seems just like yesterday you were figuring out how to plunge a toilet while your mom was at work. Though that memory is from the 80s, your can-do attitude has stayed with you. The famous self-reliance of Gen Xers has translated into impressive DIY skills, or at least a lot of confidence, and that's half the battle, right? Bottom line, if something breaks, you can trust the Gen Xer in your life to grab the tools and start fixing it faster than you can say, let's just buy a new one. Number 2. Their sartorial style is decidedly dressed down. Gen Xers pushed back against the flashy excesses of the 80s by embracing anti-fashion staples like flannel shirts, Doc Martens, and oversized sweaters. Beauty trends also became more subdued, with natural looks replacing the bright blue eyeshadow of the past. Growing up before the era of smartphones and social media, the idea of an influencer dictating their wardrobe choices is as absurd as the Friends cast affording their huge New York City apartments. By the way, Friends, despite its cross-generational appeal, is a Gen X show. Thus, you won't usually see Gen Xers chasing the latest fashion trends. Comfort and personal style are their main priorities when choosing what to wear. Think sensible shoes and ribbed knits. Plus, they were rocking combat boots and slip dresses before they were trendy, but they're too cool to brag about it. Number 3. They've mastered work-life balance. Gen Xers have earned the work hard, play hard reputation for a good reason. Growing up alongside the advent of the personal computer, they were well positioned to adapt to future technological advancements. However, technology played a much smaller role in their formative years compared to millennials. Importantly, Gen X joined the workforce before technology made it possible to be on call 24/7. Sorry, millennials. This, coupled with having workaholic parents who prioritized company loyalty above all else, influenced Gen Xers' approach to work-life balance and helped them set healthy boundaries. So, if you're off the clock and receive an urgent request from your boss, consider what a Gen Xer would do. Hint, just say no. Number 4. They're tech-savvy, but not tech-dependent. Gen Xers have a unique relationship with technology, both in their professional and personal lives. Having experienced life before and after the tech boom, they're equally at ease in both digital and analog worlds. For example, while many millennials might write long messages via text, Gen Xers are more inclined to pick up the phone and call. Don't be mistaken, the adaptable Gen Xer is perfectly capable of keeping up with modern technology. They just don't depend on it and appreciate the importance of unplugging occasionally. Thus, a Gen Xer is likely to object to excessive phone use in social settings. So, when going out with a Gen Xer, consider leaving your iPhone at home before heading to that restaurant reservation. Number 5. They're fiercely independent. We've touched on this already, but if there's one defining trait of Generation X, it's their self-reliance. Unlike the helicopter, lawnmower, and snowplow parenting styles, Gen Xers often had to fend for themselves, microwaving their own dinners and spending hours watching Saved by the Bell after school. This upbringing fostered their critical thinking skills and ability to handle any task, whether it's fixing a leaky dishwasher or learning to code. Consequently, they rarely ask for help until they've made a serious effort to solve the problem on their own. In short, Gen X is excellent at getting things done, but they don't want a fuss made about it. Number 6. They enjoy learning new skills. Generation X, often referred to as the latch-key generation, grew up during a time of significant social and economic change. This environment fostered a sense of independence and self-reliance from a young age. As a result, Gen Xers are naturally inclined towards self-directed learning and skill acquisition. Their formative years were marked by a need to adapt and solve problems on their own without immediate external assistance. This independence has carried over into their adult lives, making them enthusiastic about learning new skills. Gen Xers are often seen as jack-of-all-trades due to their willingness to dive into a wide range of subjects. This adaptability is partly driven by a desire to be self-sufficient. For example, if a household problem arises, like a broken toilet, a Gen Xer is likely to research the issue and attempt to fix it themselves rather than immediately calling a professional. This practical approach to problem solving extends beyond household repairs and into their professional lives. Number 7. They prefer a laid-back workplace. Gen Xers' preference for laid-back workplaces stems from their desire for autonomy and disdain for micromanagement. Growing up as latchkey kids, they were often left to their own devices after school, which ingrained in them a sense of responsibility and the ability to manage their time effectively. Consequently, they thrive in environments where they are trusted to complete their tasks independently. A practical, task-based approach to work resonates strongly with Gen Xers. They appreciate being given clear objectives and the freedom to achieve them without constant oversight. This method aligns with their independent nature and allows them to leverage their problem-solving skills effectively. For instance, in a task-based project, a Gen Xer will likely take initiative, applying their diverse skill set and deliver results without the need for continuous supervision. The preference for less restrictive workplaces is also a reaction to their formative experiences. Many Gen Xers witnessed their parents struggle with rigid corporate structures and vowed to seek a different work environment. They favor a balanced approach that values productivity and results over rigid processes and excessive control. Additionally, a laid-back workplace contributes to their overall job satisfaction and well-being. Gen Xers often prioritize work-life balance, valuing time spent with family and pursuing personal interests. A flexible work environment that allows for this balance is highly attractive to them, as it aligns with their values and enhances their productivity. Number 8. They have a cynical streak. The economic recessions of the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s left a lasting impact on Gen Xers. Growing up during these tumultuous times, they saw firsthand the vulnerabilities in economic systems and the hardships that ensued. Job insecurity, inflation, and the aftermath of these recessions created an environment where stability was often elusive. As a result, Gen Xers developed a cautious outlook on economic promises and corporate stability. They learned to be wary of overly optimistic projections and became adept at navigating uncertainties. This skepticism extended to geopolitical issues as well. The Cold War era, marked by a persistent threat of nuclear conflict and political tension, further solidified their distrust in global powers and political rhetoric. The fall of the Berlin Wall and the dissolution of the Soviet Union were monumental events that reshaped the world order, reinforcing the notion that political landscapes could shift dramatically and unpredictably. The latchkey experience, where children often came home to an empty house due to both parents working, fostered a sense of independence, but also contributed to their distrust in institutions and societal structures. Without constant adult supervision, Gen Xers learned to rely on themselves and their peers, which reinforced their self-sufficiency and skeptical nature. This upbringing taught them that stability was not guaranteed, and that they often had to fend for themselves, leading to a pragmatic and sometimes cynical worldview. Interestingly, The independent streak of Gen Xers is also evident in their political affiliations. According to data, about 44% of Gen Xers identify as political independents, a significantly higher percentage than previous generations. This inclination towards political independence can be seen as a direct outcome of their skepticism towards established political parties and traditional ideologies. They witnessed political scandals, shifting party lines, and unfulfilled promises, which fueled their reluctance. That was all from us today, folks, for this video. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one.